I'm America's Digital Pro, Kim Commando, and welcome to Tech News This Week, where we give you the top stories, the scams, the security alerts, and all the crazy happenings in the world of tech. Coming up, mobile phone carriers may have been selling your location data even more than it was first reported. So if you thought you had any type of privacy in your location, think again.
I'm Mike James. We're also going to tell you about an updated online calculator that'll tell you if a painful medical condition could come back.
Plus, if you own an electric car, AAA has a warning about taking it out into extreme temperatures. I'm talking about hot or cold.
And it looks like Amazon might be testing their facial recognition software on sellers.
And later, Jack Spirko from the Survival Podcast will be joining us to talk about a big part of preparation. We're going to be talking about food storage. All that and much more coming up on Tech News This Week from the digital world of Commando.com. But first, we'd like to recognize and thank our partners because they help make these podcasts possible.
We start with mobile carriers and your location data. You might remember about a month ago, a report by multimedia publication Motherboard that said some carriers had still been selling their customers' location data for months after they said they would stop. And that apparently made it easy for people like bounty hunters to find out where you are. Now Motherboard says it was worse than they thought. They're reporting that up until late 2017, a data broker called Location Smart sold data to yet another data broker, CER Care One, which in turn let a couple of hundred bounty hunters and bail bondsmen find real-time locations for people with an AT&T, T-Mobile, or Sprint phone, for a fee, of course. It also says CER Care One also sold AGPS tracking data, which was originally made to help emergency services pinpoint your phone number to get help more quickly. So, not good. These companies are in addition to the two other data brokers Motherboard mentioned last month, Zoomingo and Microbuilt. Now again, it looks like this part of the story ended in 2017. As far as location data sales in general, both T-Mobile and AT&T said the practice will come to a complete stop in March. But if you think you're still being followed by a bounty hunter in April, it's probably still going on.
I want you to sit back and just listen to part of a symphony, just for a moment. That's Schubert's Symphony No. 8 from nearly 200 years ago. And it sounds pretty great, doesn't it? Well, here's the thing. It was never actually finished. That is, until recently, and you'll never guess who finished the symphony. That's because it wasn't a who. The symphony was finally finished by a smartphone using AI, artificial intelligence. It was a Chinese company that did it, Huawei. And you won't find Huawei phones or other tech for sale because of their suspected ties with the Chinese government. But there's still this massive company working on announcements for everything from cars to cameras and anything in between using AI. Well, for the past 6 months, Huawei taught AI to finish Schubert's famous symphony. The computers analyzed all aspects of the music, and afterwards, it generated a melody based on the existing work. After AI was done, they brought in a human being, that's right, an actual composer to help clean it up. And what you just heard was part of the AI-created new material being performed by the English Session Orchestra in London. And who knew? Artificial intelligence actually has an ear for music.
Well, there's been quite a bit of controversy surrounding Amazon's facial recognition program and an outcry for the company to stop selling the technology to law enforcement agencies because of mass surveillance implications. Well, now BuzzFeed said Amazon is also testing the recognition software on their own sellers. Earlier this week, they reported that a person in Vietnam creating a seller profile had to grant Amazon access to his webcam so they could get a 5-second video of his face, and he claims it was not optional. Amazon's been pretty quiet on the matter and not responding to questions about the man's claims. Tech site Gizmodo even reached out, but a spokesman told them they're, quote, always innovating to improve the seller experience, end quote, which really doesn't clear anything up. Now, this could be another effort on Amazon's part to put an end to one seller creating multiple accounts, which they don't allow, and that's why they require several forms of ID to get a seller account set up in the first place, or it could be for another reason. Either way, they're just not telling. Even Alexa won't say.
Just ahead, if you're driving an electric car in the extreme cold or heat, hopefully you don't have too far of a drive. That's according to a new study that you really need to know about. But first, a quick message from one of our sponsors. This is a great site, Capterra.com. It's been 30 years since the World Wide Web was invented, and I bet some of you are still using that old, outdated software. Come on, get with the program. Set yourself up for success with new software for your business at Capterra.com. As America's digital pro, I get asked all the time, what's the best software for my business? And I do refer people to Capterra.com. And here's the reason why. Capterra is the leading free online resource to help you find the best software solution for your business and discover what you need to make an informed decision. You can search more than 700 specific categories of software, everything from project management to email marketing to even yoga studio management software. So join millions of people who use Capterra each month to find the right tools for their business. Visit Capterra.com/Kim today to find the right tools to make 2019 the year for your business. Once again, that address, Capterra.com/Kim, Capterra.com/Kim.
Hey, if you own an electric car and have to be out while the temperature is below freezing, you better not have a long drive. That's according to a new study by AAA. They say that some electric cars have 40% less range in below freezing temperatures. They tested 5 different vehicles using a dynamometer, or basically a car treadmill in a climate-controlled room. At 20 degrees with no heat on, the cars would lose about 12% battery. And when the heat was turned on, it was a 41% drop in range. They also tested the cars in 95-degree heat with the AC turned down. There was still a drop in range with that too, but it wasn't as significant. The BMW i3S, the Chevy Bolt, Nissan Leaf, Tesla Model S, and VW Golf were all parts of the testing. So AAA says you should be aware of limitations of electric vehicles in extreme climates and recommends you heat or cool your car while still plugged in to a charging station.
Facebook turned 15 years old yesterday, and sensationalized fake news such as bacon is as harmful as cigarettes, it's still rampant all over the site. A bipartisan group of scientists studied so-called health news on Facebook. They found that the #1 news story was about research proving marijuana is safer than tobacco. It was shared over 1 million times. Well, there was no research, it was someone's opinion. Another top story claimed that ADHD is caused by the pharmaceutical companies so they can sell drugs. Okay, the more outlandish the health claims, the more those stories are shared. Remember, don't share until you verify. Another actual news story making the rounds? Mark Zuckerberg is disgusted with all social media, will leave Facebook later this year. Unfortunately, that's fake too.
Okay, so if you've ever had a kidney stone, then you know they're not pleasant, and that's actually putting it mildly. But what's even worse is if they keep coming back, and the question of will they or won't they come back isn't always clear and can vary widely person to person. So a few years ago, researchers at the Mayo Clinic developed an online calculator that could help predict your chances of a second kidney stone after you've already had one. It's called the Recurrence of Kidney Stone Model, or ROKS for short, ROKS for short. Basically, it would take your health history, lifestyle, and other factors into account to determine if you're at risk to have the kidney stones again. But now that handy tool is getting an upgrade. The new version of ROKS is supposed to predict later occurrences of kidney stones, no matter how many you've already had. The update came after research that involved information from more than 3,000 people who had a single case of kidney stones. You can find the calculator online, and there's an app for both Apple and Android smartphones. Just look for Calculate by QXMD. Well, there's a new Chinese social networking app that continues to climb the charts. As a matter of fact, it's becoming very popular. It might even be on your teens' phones already. The app is called TikTok, and it's similar to Snapchat in that you can create and share short videos. Where they're different, though, is according to CNBC, They have some big copyright agreements that allow people to create their own music videos while lip syncing to popular songs. And they're going after Snapchat's core base. TikTok is owned by a company called ByteDance and first debuted in 2016, but they relaunched last August after combining with another company, and since then, there have been more than 30 million downloads of the app in the United States. Worldwide, though, TikTok says they have 500 million active users. And globally, it was the most downloaded app on iOS last year. To put that number in perspective, Twitter has about 326 million active users. And while TikTok continues to climb the download charts, Snapchat is seeing some declining numbers. But it does look like Snap has noticed and recently announced their own lip sync lens challenge for their fan base. And Facebook just launched their own similar app called Lasso, looking to take on TikTok. And if this is news to you, it may not be for your teen. We've got additional details at Komando.com.
More tech news from Komando.com is coming up in a moment, including why a former investigator is calling Facebook a threat to democracy and privacy. But first, we'd like to recognize and thank our partners because they help make these podcasts possible.
Facebook celebrated their 15th anniversary on Monday, but one of its early investors isn't wishing the company a happy birthday and instead just released a book saying that Facebook is a threat to democracy, public health, and privacy. Roger McNamee appeared on CBS This Morning on Monday, the day before releasing his new book titled Zucked: Waking Up to the Facebook Catastrophe. He wanted to talk about what he calls the dark side of social media. This is what he had to say, not only about Facebook, but also about Google.
So, John, we've all trusted technology for really good reasons for the last 50 or 60 years because every new piece of technology made our lives better. The problem is that Facebook and Google have taken advantage of that, and they've created products that essentially prey on the weakest elements of our psychology to create first habits and then addictions.
McNamee advised Mark Zuckerberg in Facebook's early days, but hasn't been involved with the company in over a decade. Facebook released a response to CBS News on McNamee's book and claims, saying, quote, "We take the criticism very seriously. Over the past 2 years, we've fundamentally changed how we operate to better protect the safety and security of people using Facebook." End quote. Okay, that's nice, but regarding your security, maybe they just forgot about everything that's happened over the last year or so.
Answer this question. If you were to lose your phone right now, what's the most important thing on it that you'd miss? Odds are your photos are the most important things to you on your phone. So that's why it's really important to back them up. If you use an iPhone, it's a no-brainer to use iCloud. You get 5 gigs for free, but unless you have a really small photo collection, you're going to need to pay a few dollars a month for extra storage. That's why I need to tell you about free options, starting with your Amazon Prime membership. Many people don't know that along with movies, music, and free 2-day shipping, your Prime membership includes unlimited free photo storage. And finally, Google Photos offers free photo storage too. You may hear complaints that Google compresses photos. This only matters if your camera's 20 megapixels or more, and yours probably isn't.
Another restaurant chain that's been the victim of a cyber attack, and once again, your credit card or debit card information could be at risk. Huddle House is a restaurant chain located in 24 states, and late last week they announced that a point-of-sale system at some of their corporate and franchised locations was infected with malware. Now, they said in a statement posted on their website that this malware was designed to collect info like your name, credit or debit card number, expiration date, and other details specific to those cards. Huddle House says they don't know how many locations were infected, but they say if you used a payment card at any of their 321 restaurants around the country between August 1st, 2017, all the way to now, your payment information could be at risk. Now, in this case, the crooks apparently got in through a third party's data system, but it's definitely not the first restaurant chain to be hit with a security breach. Over the past couple of years, hackers used similar malware tactics against Chipotle, Cheddar's Scratch Chicken, Arby's, Panera Bread, and Sonic Drive-Ins, and that's just to name the restaurants. A number of other retailers have also lost their customers' payment data through hackers. So if you did visit a Huddle House over the past year and a half or so, you should probably keep a close eye on your payment card statements and your credit score for anything that's out of the ordinary. We recommend that you do that whether you think you've been hacked or not. It's just a good plan. And you can also set up fraud alerts or even put a credit freeze on your account. We've got more information on this breach and all kinds of tips along with other ways to protect your information over at Commander.com.
And we have a special guest, Jack Spirko from the Survival Podcast, back with us. And Jack's going to be talking about a big part of preparedness, proper food storage.
Hi, Kim. This week I wanted to share some thoughts with your audience on the cornerstone of preparedness, food storage. Food storage is one of those things that people often have a difficult time getting their heads around. They look at all of these products that are available, 25-year storage, pallets full of food, and think about a garage or a bunker full, like a doomsday prepper thing from a TV show. That's not the way we teach food storage here. Those products actually have a really great place as an anchor in the entire system, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's start out with what I call common sense food storage, though. And we're going to do this based on a credo of eat what you store and store what you eat. It just makes sense that the main focus of your stored food is food that you use all the time that's shelf stable. The way you do this is simple. You need a food journal. You don't have to do this for a long time. Just get yourself a blank notebook, put it on your countertop. Every time you use a food item, write down what it is. If it is storable without refrigeration, put a star next to it. If you use it and it's already in the journal, put a check mark next to it. Do this for 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks' time, and you will develop a shopping list so that now we can practice something called copy canning. All this means, let's say there's a particular item that you like. I don't know, a canned variety of chili, for instance. Your family uses a couple times a month. Well, next time you go to the store, if you were going to buy 2, instead buy 3. That's all you have to do. It's very simple. It doesn't have a big impact on your budget. Bring it home and treat your pantry just like the grocery store treats its shelves. The newest item in the front, the oldest item in the back. Next time you go back to the grocery store, if you use 2, you were going to buy 2 to replace them, buy 3 again. Keep doing this, and over a few months, you'll develop a supply of that particular item. Keep doing this with 2 or 3 items at a time until you have a nice full pantry. Once this is done, you just go back to the old way. You use 2 cans this week, you go to the market, you buy 2 new cans, put them in the back, pull everything forward. Now you begin to build storage where if you ever need to rely on it, your family's used to eating it, they like to eat it, and they're excited about eating it. This does have its limits, but what I suggest you do with all of the regularly used items in your home that you can store without refrigeration, shoot for a 60-day supply. I'm not saying 60 days that you can go without going to the grocery store at all for anything. I'm saying they'll last you 60 days in your normal course of events. If you do that, you'll have about a 30-day supply of food when you combine everything else that you do keep in the freezer, the refrigerator, etc. Now you've got a 30-day food supply on hand at all times, and you didn't have to do anything special. But now we're going to go a little bit further and extend our ability to go without systems of support. We're going to move now into dry goods. Now, I live a very much paleo-style lifestyle, so I don't eat a lot of starches, but I still keep some around. We use small amounts. We're still practicing eat what you store and store what you eat. But this is where you're looking at products like rice, beans, lentils, amaranth, quinoa, and hemp seed. No, I don't mean dope. I mean the kind they use to make rope. Hemp seed is one of the few vegetable proteins that is a complete protein. It is a great adjunct. We use it, for instance, to sprinkle on top of your salads, and don't worry, it's perfectly safe and it won't make you fail a drug test at work. And we can also look at things like dehydrated vegetables. I'm going to talk about freeze-dried, which most prepared items are in just a minute. Let me just say with dehydrated vegetables, there are vegetables that come out really well used in soups, stews, casseroles, etc. if they are dehydrated. There are ones that don't. Don't buy any dehydrated green beans. Trust me, that's one of the ones that don't. But when you find good vegetables, things like carrots and celery and onion, etc., you can buy large amounts, 1 gallon at a time, put them in some ball jars, which are just canning jars if you don't know the term ball jar, put a lid on them with an O2 absorber in them, and they'll store just like that for 25 years or more. As you use them, continue to replace them, do the same thing that you're doing with your deep pantry. Vacuum sealing, I think, is one of the greatest things you can do. This is more for items that are going in your freezer. But I just had an opportunity where the store had New York strip bone-in on sale for $3.99 a pound. I bought every package of it I could get and put them in the deep freezer vacuum sealed. That's part of your storage as well. Don't think it all has to be stuff that you can store underground in a bunker. Now, let's talk about the prepared items. These have a real place in a holistic food storage plan. And that is as extenders and as ways to fill in the gaps for the things that you cannot, again, that you cannot store easily without refrigeration. The number one thing, that would be meat. If you think about it, if you wanted to make beef stroganoff noodles, everything that goes in there, even the cream and butter, can be in a powdered form and easily obtained. The one thing that's actually complicated in that beef stroganoff to store without refrigeration is the beef. So freeze-dried beef cubes make a really great addition to your storage. Chicken and beef cubes, ground meat, and sausage crumbles are my favorite long-term storage items in a freeze-dried form. I also like pork chops. They even have Gulf shrimp. These products are outstanding, but that is where they give you the greatest bang for the buck, and it's where I recommend you spend most of your effort on them as you build out your storage over time. Basically, I want you to think about freeze-dried products this way. Freeze-drying is the best method of preserving food without refrigeration that man has ever invented. It's also the most expensive. So stick to using it mostly for the things that are very difficult to store and have be high quality without refrigeration. And it'll give you that really big bang for the buck. In any event, you owe it to your family to have food security in your family's life. Whether it's a 3-day pack that at least gets you started, or whether it's a comprehensive approach like we discussed today, it gives your family more insurance against hard times. And here's the good thing. If you do it the way I just described it, it will save you money over the long term. We can get more into that if you check out my show, again, at thesurvivalpodcast.com. I have the 10 best episodes we've done over 10 years for you on food storage. You can find it at thesurvivalpodcast.com/food. Kim, thank you again for letting me speak to your audience. I hope everyone has a great week, and we know how to have great weeks. Be well prepared for them.
Hey, thanks, Jack. Always a pleasure to have you on board with us. And by the way, every week on my national radio show, I answer questions from people just like you who want to live the best digital lifestyle ever. Whether it's a family problem or a business issue, or you're wondering how to get something done, you can always make an appointment to speak with me. What you need to do is use our dedicated caller line. Just leave a message at area code 602-381-8200. Once again, that's area code 602-381-8200. And when that automatic person answers, just go ahead and hit extension 290. A producer will get back with you. Hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, 24/7, we're always at komando.com for you. That's KOMANDO.com.